Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I thought I'd show you how to do this little background technique. Kind of looks like a little wildflower forest with a little vignette here in a couple of different colors. And here's what it looks like with a silhouette stamp, where you might see a spotlight or something like that. You could also do a scene in there. But anyways, why don't we just get started? So here are some of the supplies you're going to need. I'm using Tim Holtz Distress Heavyweight Watercolor paper. You do need a heavy paper that will withstand water. And I'm using the smooth side so that it can easily be stamped on, because it's kind of hard to stamp on this bumpy surface. It looks better, but we're going to use this side. You're going to need some Oxide inks. I'm using Pine Needle, Lucky Clover, and Cracked Pistachio. Going to need a sponge of some sort and any other supplies. So for instance, this is a glue stick that I chopped up because it's got this little, if you can see it, this little end here. Let's see what else. Okay, this I've stuffed some SOS steel wool. I've stuffed some steel wool into a straw from the dollar store. Here's another piece of broken sponge. Here's a makeup sponge that I cut up the end. And see, if you give it a squish, you can get a little flower out of it. I sacrificed a paintbrush by smushing it down like that, twirling it around so I could get that widespread. I've got a cotton ball, some Q-tips. Use what you have. And then for the flowers, I'm using these re-inkers, or if I don't have a re-inker for the color I want, I've got the Distress Oxide spray that I'll spray down. And you can also just use the ink pad. It's just a little bit more work, but you can do it. Anyway, let's get started. We're going to start out with just some ink smushing. Simple, everybody knows how to do it. What I like to do is take my lightest color and lay it down in the center, and then I'll take my Lucky Clover and just kind of go around like a little flower like that. And then I like to take the Pine Needles. It makes a nice cool tone. You don't have to use cool tones, you can use warm tones. And I'll just do that every other one. And now I'll take my sprayer and give it some water, just like yay. And again, you guys all know how to do this, but just for demonstration purposes. And I got gunk all over my paper, that's okay. And like Tim says, you squish it down once, you get what you get, you don't throw a fit. Quote Tim Holtz. And I do want to make sure the whole paper is covered. And I'll move this up out of my way a little bit. And I'll take my dryer and dry that down. Okay, got my first layer down. It's relatively dry. These edges, meh, doesn't matter. Okay, now you're just going to do your tap, 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 and dry in between. And I've got that second layer dried. I'm going to do some more tapping. Let me just kind of spread this out a bit. I want those little nuggety bits. Yeah. And we're still just sticking with the green. I need a little more green over there. Don't worry too much about the edges, because you are going to do some ink blending on the edges. Yeah, like that. Be right back while I dry it. Okay, so that one's relatively dry. I'm going to kind of straighten it out a little. And now I'm just going to go in with some water. Big drops, little drops, various drops. And just let those drip in. In a moment I'll turn on my dryer, so I will pause video again. Okay, so I've got that all dry, and I'm going to kind of wipe up my mess here. My poor little pad thing has seen its better days. But I am going to keep it right here because I'm going to be wanting to spray some stuff. What you want to do is you want to get this nice and flat and get you some paper towels ready. And I just have 2 of those little half pieces. These ones are bamboo. They're weird, but whatever. And what you're going to do, you're going to kind of hold this flat and start real close to it in the middle and just start spraying water. And spray out as far as you want your vignette to be. Now I am going to trim this paper down, but the main thing is you don't want it spreading too much. You're going to hold it flat, leave it for a few seconds, lay down your paper towel, push, and lift. Ta-da! I like that pine needles because it leaves that nice blue color. Now you want to dry this really well again. Okay, I've got that all nice and dry. I'm going to flatten it out. And then I'm going to take my Lucky Clover here, get my little non-slip thingy here, and I'm going to use a blending brush. You can use whatever. And I'm just going to deepen out the edges here, just around the edges. Okay, I got that nice and deep. I'm going to give it another spritz with water. You don't want mismatched things. At least I'm giving light and heavy splotches, and I'll dry it. Okay, so there we are. Got it dry. I'm going to put it back in shape. Kind of flatten it down so I can work with it. And I'm going to wipe off my mat here because I'm going to start going in with some color now. And I guess the whole point is kind of like a, I don't know, Monet or some sort of abstract jungle garden. And okay, so I'm going to start here with some, oh, let's do some dried marigold. It's an oxide spray, so you want to shake it up, and maybe there's a right way or a wrong way to shake it. This is how I do it. And then I'm going to get it really close here, and this will be messy. I'm going to give about 3 spritzes. So I've got it there, and I'll start with going in with my sponge. What I'm going to do is just dip my sponge in there, and then dip it around. Well, say you don't have a sponge. Let's see what happens with the glue stick. Yeah, got some ink on there. Oh, get a little bit more intense color with that. Kind of like that. You just want to go around. You can get inside too of your vignette area. And it does calm down some when it starts to dry. Okay. I'm happy with the dried marigold. Let's see here. And I'll find a way to clean this off here. How about that? Yeah, there we go. And I think I will go in now with some, and this may be a mistake, but fire brick. Give it a good shake. Give it a squirt or 2. Eek. Trying to get close there without splattering it out. This is why my hands are a mess, by the way. And I did manage to splatter, so you'll be more careful than I am. And, ooh, we have some roses in our garden. Okay, so remember that brush I sacrificed? I'm going to give that a squish out. Get it in the water, in the ink. And you get a much finer little detail with that. So depending on the details you want and how much ink you put on, we'll see what you get. Get some of those thicker splotches over here. Okay, and I think I'll go in with one more color. I think I'll try to be a little more careful with this one. I'm going to go in with the... I'm going to go in with the picked raspberry. This is my re-inker. I know I have a spray one here somewhere too, but this will work just fine. I'm just going to put a couple of drops. A lot less messy. And let's see what happens when we use this little guy. I'm going to get really messy here. I always want to kind of... Oh, that little guy doesn't really want to absorb the... No, that's not going to work very good. Okay, forget that idea. I'll go back in with my sponge. Find a pink area that I've already gotten dirty. You want to just tap and then tap off and then tap in. You don't have to use this color combination. You can use any colors you want, any colors you have. You don't have to use Oxide ink. Use what you have. Do want to come inside though, a little bit. Okay, kind of let that dry, and the last color I'm going to come in with is white. And I use this Daler Rowney Aquafine Watercolor ink because that's what I have. And let me see, I think I want to use the sponge for this. Get that a little bit cleaner so I'm not transferring a lot of that color. And just put a couple of drops down of the white. And find a clean spot on my sponge. There we go. Just give it a tap into the color and then tap it off. And just light taps. Aren't you surprised how easy this is? I've been looking at this backgrounds like this forever and wondering how in the world do they do that? So I just studied one and thought, well, I'm probably not doing it the correct way, but hey, let's do it anyway. So we're trying. And I had made, just the other day, I had made 3 or 4 of these backgrounds, and I had a whole brand new package of the watercolor paper that I got, Joanne. I can't find either of them. I don't know what the heck happened. There. Very easy. Now what you could do, and what I'm going to do, is I'm going to kind of let that dry just a minute here, straighten it out, and then I'm going to give it another light spritz from a distance. I don't want any heavy drops on there. So, squirt myself in the face? No. Just a couple of light squirts. Kind of let those colors melt together. See here, you can see where I messed it up and got that, splattered that ink all over there. That's okay. Can always go in with just a color, a light color, and fill that in. Or lift some more in the very center. Let that sit. And lift. Okay. So now it gets kind of warpy, you have to dry it again. And there you have it. You've got yourself the little vignette. Little wet spot there. Hey y'all, plus I wanted to show you something cool that I found at Joanne the other day. Look, isn't it cute for cutting little sentiments? Anyway, Fiskars. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so that's it for this technique. And all you would do is just choose any stamp. I chose a large silhouette for this, and I had trimmed it down to 3 3/4 by 5 so that I could mat it. You can trim it down however you like or leave it whole. Obviously you have to trim this one down because my center isn't great, but you can center that when you're trimming it. Thanks so much for stopping by and let me show you how to do this particular technique, or how I do it anyway. If you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and thanks so much for watching. Have a good day.